Young Thug and Gunna.
Oh shit! All right.
That's the darkest we have.
I didn't know. All right.
We don't have a whole lot of topics this week, but that is the darkest one of the few.
All right. Should we play the clip from the DA?
Yeah.
You got it, or should I pull it up?
Pull it up, and I will try to give some clarity to what we're talking about. So if you have not heard,
which you should have
by now, it's been over a week at this point, at the time of recording this, and Young Thug and Gunna have been arrested on RICO charges, RICO violations. RICO is the racketeering. Ooh, I knew I was going to mess that up. And you know what? If you ask me off the pod, I'll know exactly what it means. The Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, which was instituted to indict groups of people, specifically the mafia, in the past, and it still does. But it also they also use it to charge gangs,
and groups.
So that just groups of people that are conspiring to commit crimes together. So
gang. You ain't got to repeat it. It's all right.
I wasn't going to.
Don't worry.
No, because they will not come get us. Okay, neither of them, the cops or
Meta already gave them our data,
or the gangs will not. Okay, so apparently, Young Thug is the leader of the Young Slime Life crew / gang. We're not sure. Fulton County is saying that it's a gang.
Yep.
They are saying there's lots of criminal activity to prove that it's a gang. They are saying that there have been threats on people's lives. There have also been actual murders. And
attempts.
Yes. And the selling of drugs and
possession and intent to sell.
All right, that's why you're here, because you got the, I bring it to the people and you put a little sauce on it. You put you give it a little salt bay, just a little, or does he?
I don't know.
Something like that. Anyway,
I remember the GIF was like.
Yeah, it's something like this.
I don't know.
Yeah. So.
They're gonna fuck us up for making that. For making that salt bay shit.
So. This is what they're alleging. Young Thug, they were able to pick up at his home and raid his home. So not only did he get charged with what the 28 people were charged with, he had additional charges added on once they went through his home and found weapons and things like that.
Yeah.
They are claiming that he is the leader of this group / gang. Gunna is also involved. He's among the 28 people that are being charged. Gunna actually turned himself in after a couple of days. They were looking for him, and he finally turned himself in. They have tried to get Young Thug out of jail, and they're saying he's a flight risk, so he wasn't granted bail. What, did I miss something?
No, you're killing it. I'm just waiting. I have mad stuff to say, but I was waiting.
Okay.
I didn't want to cut you off.
And then one of the things that I think is really important to note is that one of the ways that they're saying that they're using, which we will really get into, one of the ways that they're saying they have evidence is through music that was actually created. Oh, and I should point out another thing that is of note is rapper YFN Lucci is named in the Young Thug charge because he's been in jail now, the same jail that they're all in. He's been in jail for a while. I want to say 6 months to a year at least, on a murder charge. And he is claiming, or his people are claiming, that this other gang, because he's in one too, is the YFN is a... Listen, I'm like 65 in music years. I don't know what is going on with the young folks. I really do not know. I don't know. My birthday is coming up. It's going to be another year added on to that. I can't keep track of the names and the Lils and the this and the that. I'm trying here, guys. But he is a part of another gang. Apparently, YFM Lucci and Young Thug have had a long-standing beef. There's been alleged threats on everyone's lives, it seems. And they're alleging that his camp, Young Thug's camp, has tried to kill YFM Lucci while he's in jail under the care of Fulton County. So I think that's it for my overview. I know it was a little long-winded and I rambled a little bit, but
you killed it.
You know,
that was a quick, accurate summary from what I understand.
Okay, all right.
The DA.
The DA.
Play it for the DA and the motherfucking jury.
Let me get some of my spa water. You know.
It's from a Boondocks episode.
Really?
We're making fun of gangster rappers.
Oh,
and
perfect.
lyrics being played in court.
That's a perfect.
He says in the song, they played the song, I think it's called Play It for the Jury or Play It for the Judge. And now as evidence, play it for the judge. Play it for the judge and the jury and the DA.
The judge allowed Gangstalicious's music to be introduced as evidence at his assault trial. They played for the jury a track called Play It for the Jury.
Play it for the jury, the defendant and the plaintiff, the court reporter and the bailiff. Play it for the jury, the
You have to put that in. You have to put that in the video, but you also you should do a side by side and mute them, and then you do the song.
That shit is funny as hell. All right, here is the DA. So y'all know we're laughing because I tried to play the clip from the DA off of YouTube, and immediately an ad came up from a company that we don't have anything to do.
We don't have anything to do with them.
Oh man, sorry, we poor folks over here. I ain't got YouTube Premium. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But if y'all want to hook us up with YouTube Premium, you can
Hook us up.
There's comment sections.
I can read ads.
Comment sections. They're here.
I'm actually good at reading.
You know what I'm saying?
If you need me to read an ad, if you want to send us some products, and then we, advertise them right here on this here podcast. Let's have a real conversation. Let's have a real conversation about that. Okay, I'm done trying to sell us now. I got to do it once. Once a pod.
I was letting you get your shit off. I didn't even want to,
Listen, I don't know who's watching.
You never know.
You never know.
All right. The Fulton DA.
In a recent interview, you said in the coming weeks and months to expect indictments, RICO charges, gang charges. We see that with fear, but this is only focused on the YSL gang. At that time, you used plural indictments. Should we expect more indictments against singular gangs in the coming weeks and months? Is that what you were meaning with that quote?
Yeah, and if you're already aware, we dropped an indictment not that long ago against YFN. It is certainly a tool that I believe in, which is using RICO. The reason that I believe in it as a tool is it allows juries and the communities to see the complete picture of a crime so they can truly be educated and have facts to weigh when they're making decisions. And so if you're asking, should you expect to see other RICO indictments against other street gang organizations? Absolutely.
And there it is. I mean, there's a whole 3-minute clip, but that's too much.
Yeah, it was pretty long. I didn't watch the whole thing. What I will say, who we will promote though, is Bruce Rivers. That's his name, right? It's not an ad, but I think this is helpful to people if they're interested in.
The guy you showed me?
Yeah, I think it's Bruce Rivers.
Actually, when you look up Young Thug RICO, he pops right up. He's look right here. Yeah. CLR Bruce Rivers.
So Bruce Rivers is a criminal lawyer who teams up with his son to create these YouTube videos, and he basically reacts to these different charges that come up against rappers specifically. That seems to be like his niche. And so he's actually really good at explaining what's happening, the ins and outs of the indictments and all of that. So if you're interested, you should check him out on YouTube. He also, his whole thing is stop self-snitching, because he feels like the rappers telling themselves. Especially
and they do.
They do, and we're going to talk about that.
That's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
And so in the clip, you can hear the prosecutor, the DA, saying that they are using the RICO because it allows, quote, the jury to see and the community to see the full picture. And so what they're saying is that they are grouping together the gangs and the cliques, and they want to make sure that the public understands that this group is working in cohesion to commit various crimes. This is what she's saying, not what we are saying. No. And so she said that she apparently there was, I didn't know that part, but she said there was already a RICO filed against the YFN gang, which is where YFN Lucci is from. And now they're going after YSL. And so Young Thug is allegedly the leader of this, as Dee has stated. Gunna has been swept up in this as well. The some of the charges as far as drug possession and intent to distribute are marijuana, which is really weird, but that's part of it. And the part that we're probably going to focus on is, as Dee said, lyrics. And so lyrics are being used because there are threats in the lyrics, and there are lyrics that reference crimes. And so this is a thing that we have seen before in hip hop, and this is something that they are using in this RICO case as well. There was something else you said that I wanted to respond to. Oh, so yes, Young Thug's attorneys attempted to get him out of jail. They said that the conditions in the jail were terrible and inhumane. I am paraphrasing, that's not a quote. And the DA and the people from the jail responded and said, no, it's regular, and that's how everyone in the jail is treated. Right. So sit down and chill out.
And I think the perspective that they're taking, I'm not agreeing, but the perspective that they're taking is, if you can kill people, you can deal with these conditions.
Right. And so
you can do with that with what you will.
Yeah. And so we'll see what happens. I don't know how much we'll report on it. But a RICO case is really interesting because, as Dee said, it takes a group of people and lumps up the charges. And what happens is, and the DA, not the DA, what's his name? David what?
Bruce Rivers. David who?
David Banner?
David Banner. Listen. You wanna, I told you I'm 65 in music years, okay?
As Bruce Rivers breaks down, RICO cases are often used to group together large amounts of people, and the idea is that the people in the lower levels and the mid levels will suffer because they can't afford bail, they can't afford the big attorneys, and they can't really fight off the big RICO case.
They want them to flip on the people at the top, basically.
Right.
So the all the dominoes come tumbling down. That's essentially the idea behind it. And something to note, because I know that there's a lot of, we could talk about this too. There were some people who came out, some people we know, who came out and said, oh, no. They're just trying to get these groups out of here. They're not a gang. Metro Boomin came out and very explicitly said, this is not a gang. YSL is not a gang. It is an LLC, and they help people and they help the community. And those things might be true, but they could also be doing the things that, two things can be true at the same time, is what I always like to say. The thing about it is that I think maybe Metro Boomin needed to kind of sit down for a moment and think about is that when people get brought up on RICO charges, it takes a really, 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 really long time to bring people up on RICO charges. This means that they have been under surveillance for a really long time.
Yeah. Whether
it be them listening to phone calls, whether them sending people in undercover, whatever it is, they didn't just walk into the precinct on that day and say, you know what, we're gonna bring I saw something strange today with these people and we're gonna bring them up on charges. They do a lot. They do a thorough investigation, and they have evidence by the time they start charging people with RICO violations. That's why they're able to go in and raid and pick up that many people at a time.
Yeah. If I'm correct, and I could be wrong, but I believe they said that this RICO started in 2012.
Yeah, I think they did. I think you're right about that. Somewhere, and if not that year, somewhere around there. So that's 10 years in the making.
That's a lot of I Spy.
That's a lot. That's a lot of, and the idea is, yeah, you might make sure that you're all your ducks in a row, but over that amount of time, somebody's gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
And it just takes one person to fuck up and say something wrong under surveillance or whatever for it to be a huge case like this. So the question that I have for you is, all these things considered, we don't know anything about this stuff. We're not involved. This is all alleged. But what we can talk about is, should music lyrics, because we're seeing this happen now more frequently than not.
Right.
They are not the only people, like you said, to have this happen and have their lyrics used as evidence.
That's what I want to pull up.
Should lyrics be used to charge people, to try people? Should it be used in a case as evidence? How do you feel about that?
1 second. Because one of the things that you said is what I wanted to pull up. Okay, so in 2018, there was a rapper in Florida named, not Whistle, his name is YNW Melly, and he was arrested for allegedly killing 2 of his friends. In court, they read lyrics from a song he wrote called "Murder on My Mind," and they used that as evidence. In the song, he says, this is an interview. All right. Okay, "Murder on My Mind," he tells a first-person story of accidentally killing a friend. Melly released "Murder on My Mind" on his YouTube channel in March of 2017, and it became very popular. It had 88 million views at the time of the article I'm reading. And then in 2018, when the trial started, they read part of it. Part of the lyrics. Well, it doesn't say which ones they read in court.
Okay.
It just says that they read some of his lyrics in court. Mm-hmm. Melly believes it was the reading of the lyrics that sent him back to jail. And so...
here's the thing. Or do you have something to say about that? Can I jump in? I have never killed anyone. Let me just start by saying that, just so we're clear. If I was going to commit a crime, I don't do that. But if I was going to commit a crime, why would I do the crime and then go write about it and then share it with the public when I have a significant following? Even if I didn't have a significant following, because one person hearing it makes it relevant. Why? Why? Because there's 2 parts to this. One part is, should it be used? And the other part is, why the fuck are you doing this? Why would you put yourself in this position? That's how I feel about it.
Right.
Why? What is that about?
Well, there's a lot to talk about. One of the things that article says is that in 1980, when Snoop was on trial, they also played Snoop's lyrics. They played "Murder Was the Case," 187, and "Body Bag" when Snoop was on trial for murder. Mm-hmm. And there were songs also played when Boosie was on trial in 2003. And so lyrics being used is not new, no. But it is fucked up. And yeah, it's a 2-sided coin, right? So if music is art, and if music is based on, if music is subjective and music is art, then it becomes tricky, because it's like saying you're gonna arrest someone for creating a murder movie and use the evidence from use the things that happen in the murder movie as evidence. And I know it's not 100% identical.
It isn't, because it's only the same if I murder someone and then I make a movie about murdering someone and I mimic the murder in the movie. then that would be the same thing. Because what they're doing is not just creating art about something that they may have seen or whatever. They're talking about things they did.
Allegedly.
I mean, if there's evidence to support it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Beyond the lyrics.
But that's where it's tricky. Because if I say, I'm not going to say anything. If I make up lyrics, if I make up a song and say, hey, I did these things, because of the fact that you have a small amount of evidence pointing to me, once you add the lyrics, it changes the game. So if they say, oh, JD killed someone, and I have a song saying I killed someone, they don't need as much evidence because it becomes more about the perception of the jurors, because they're going to play a piece of your song. They're not going to play the whole song. They're not going to, they're going to play the one part that seems to go with whatever piece of evidence they have. So if I say, oh, sky blue pistol, and the gun is has a shade of blue to it that they just happen to find. It's like, see, look, he was rapping about the gun. Here's the gun. Look at the gun. Listen to the line. And so that gets tricky. But should you be rapping about the crimes you commit? Probably not. But that is where it gets tricky. Right now in hip hop, things have kind of changed. When we were younger, long time ago.
I'm 65.
Long time ago.
When hip hop was first born.
All right, maybe not that long ago.
Yeah, we're not that old.
I wasn't around, but
literally the same age. I wasn't around either. I don't want people to think that I mean, if I was 65, I'm a good-looking 65, so it doesn't even matter. I mean, it's fine. Don't think that.
When we were younger, a lot of the stuff that was happening in lyrics were saying things from the past. It was saying, years ago I did this, or I used to do this.
Before I got out of the life, this happened.
Or even the big hit record from Jay-Z and Alicia Keys a couple years ago, the now New York anthem. He says where he used to get his packages, drugs, etc. Gives the address and all of that.
Right.
But it becomes a little tricky now, because when you fast forward to now, people are committing crimes or saying they committed crimes, because we don't know them all to be facts.
Right.
But they're saying, I smacked in the middle of recording. And then that is there.
That would be the end of the let's have a real conversation.
That would be the real conversation. The real conversation is you smacked me and it's over.
It's done.
But if I put that in a song, now they have this and it gets tricky. And so there have been numerous incidents where rappers in the last couple of years have been doing this. And so whether it's true or not remains to be seen. In some cases, it is clearly true. In other cases, it's unknown. But if they're building a case against you and you're making these lyrics and you're making these songs, putting these lyrics in songs, it creates a very, very, very tricky situation. And obviously you don't know a RICO case is being built against you for 10 years.
No.
But I think...
Right, that's what I'm waiting on. What do you think? I
think part of the problem is 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I think when we were younger, and this is my opinion, this is not a fact,
right? To
be clear, because the internet loves to do that and act like you said one thing and then another. Right. And so this is my opinion. I think when we were younger, people were saying, I used to do this when I sold drugs. I used to do this when I got into beef. And even when they speak about crimes they committed, they were years ago. Or at least they made it sound like years ago. They didn't say like smacked you in the mouth and then came to this studio and recorded this song
on October 21st, 2021. Like that, because that's how specific that. Obviously, that's not a song lyric, but that's how specific.
Yeah, they tell you what people were wearing. And who was with them, you know.
And we
was with me when we stomped him out.
We should note that the statute of limitations there is no statute of limitations on murder.
Not on murder.
Not on murder, on other crimes. And so you could argue that maybe in the past, the reason why, and honestly, some crimes, listen, law enforcement is not looking to get everybody and get every single crime.
No.
Make no mistake about that. They're looking for the big fish. And so if they feel like what you did was insignificant or you can't get them to the big fish, they'll ignore it and they'll act like they didn't hear about it, see it, or whatever, unless there's something blaringly obvious and in their face that they have to do something about it. But they're not going after people who commit petty crimes, or they're not going after people who maybe committed a robbery 10 years ago and rapped about it in a song today. They're not really looking for those people. They're looking for the big fish. They're looking for things that are happening now. I think the issue with Atlanta, and what the DA tried to say, is that they have a problem right now with violence in Atlanta proper, and in what's the word I'm trying to think of? Doesn't matter. But they're having that issue. There's been a lot of people have said that going to Atlanta these days is like going to the Wild Wild West. And so they are trying to clean up crime.
Right.
So they're going to go after the big groups because they figure if they could sweep up 30 people at one time, they're minimizing the damage to the city.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind. I think that it also depends on the crime. I think that if they know that people are attempting murder and actually going through with murder, then hell yeah, they're going to go after them, whether it's today or it's 2 years from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, because that's something that you could charge at any time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I was saying, I think the problem is that they have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, because it seems like, and I could be wrong, this is my opinion, I don't have any evidence to back this up, this is just my thought. I think when Jay-Z and Nas and Snoop and all these cats were saying these things they did in the 90s, and even in the early 2000s, I think a lot of people were saying things they used to do. Where I think, once again, these are my thoughts, I think that the people now are doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing, while still doing those type of crimes while they're in the limelight. And so it's a different story when you say, oh, I did that 10 years ago.
Right.
As to when you say, oh, we did it yesterday at Catch Steak. It's like, oh, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like if you say you smacked somebody at Dunkin' Donuts yesterday, and then before we can report it, you made the song and put it out and made it a hot song.
I would love a filet mignon right now, by the way. You said Catch Steak. And
it's all good. And so, if the hit single is
peppercorn sauce on it, just, delicious. Maybe some mac and cheese, some lobster mac and cheese, and some mashed potatoes. I'm sorry. Hungry. That's all.
I was going to ask.
Okay.
And so, yeah, if you say like, left his face in the mac and cheese, and everybody in the streets is blasting your song, left his face in the mac and cheese, it's gonna be a little harder for you, because player, you just put it all out there. And so I think that's one of the issues with this current type of music. I don't even want to say genre or subgenre, because a lot of people want to point to drill music, and it's not just drill music. I understand that aggressive lyrics are a thing, but they've been a thing in hip hop for a very long time. I think what makes it challenging is that, like I said, you put these lyrics in your songs from current events. And so if you're saying you did something very recently and you're in the limelight, it makes you a bigger target. And I think that is part of what this is.
I mean, for me, it's dumb. It's dumb. Maybe that's a really simple way to say it. Maybe I sound like a simpleton. I don't know. But it's just dumb. Why tell on yourself? Why tell on yourself? You could write songs about anything. You want to write songs about your life. You want to keep a diary.
Okay, but
there are people who want to hear
Okay, so there is a thing in our culture where you like someone more because what they say seems believable. If someone like Childish Gambino makes a gangster rap album, you're probably not going to believe it. In fact, you'll probably hear it and say, Childish Gambino, stop.
If anything, we would think it was a parody.
Right. And so, but if you see someone who looks the part, acts the part, then you find out he's got street credibility. Now it's like, oh shit, this really did happen. Whoa, Styles P, 50 Cent, Pusha T, all these dudes. That's like, whoa, these are street dudes. They have street credibility.
Right.
It makes it more. It just adds more excitement to the music.
Listen, I love a good lyric that has nothing to do with things that I do. That's probably the best way to say it. I love that just as much.
What's the 2 Chainz shit? Pretty Girls Love Trap Music. That's him.
Pretty Girls Love Trap, yes. And then Ariana Grande tried to.
She's not part of our culture.
That's the point.
Oh, what she tried to do?
She tried to basically steal his whole rollout. I'll show you after the pod, but yeah, she tried to hijack his trap rollout, and it was gross. And then the way she cleaned it up was by putting him on her remix. Yeah. Anyway.
Don't put me on your remix.
Right, but you know what? He's 2 Chainz and he's smart. And so he was like, I'm gonna do this shit. Yeah. Little white girl want to steal my shit and put me on your song so I can make money off of your huge pop audience. Of course.
Absolutely.
Listen, a smart man.
A genius.
So.
No, too early. I'll save it.
So I just think it's dumb. I understand the entertainment of it all. I understand
the added layer of appeal.
But I think sometimes it seems more like grandstanding.
Yeah.
Than anything else. And if you want to grandstand.
But that's part of hip hop, no?
It's a part of hip hop, yes. But you can't have it both ways. You can't tell on yourself and then get mad when you get caught.
Okay.
You want a grandstand, you want people to know you did it. Well, then if the police come knocking on your door and say, "Hey, we're arresting you for murder," you could have just left the body where it was.
But if you can tell me you've got $100,000 car that you just pulled out the lot, is that not also grandstanding?
Absolutely is.
That's what I'm saying. So isn't it just grandstanding is part of hip hop? And don't we like hearing people that could really talk that shit?
We're talking about 2 very different things, though. There's one thing to say, I think
it's a component of hip hop.
I got bags of money, and there's another thing to say, hey, I killed someone, which I did not do. But it's a very different thing.
I kind of want to argue, but go ahead.
So argue.
If Rick Ross
could
say, I have all the money in the world, and not have all the money in the world.
That's my shit, by the way.
That's why I mentioned it.
I love me some Rick Ross.
If Rick Ross could say, I have all the money in the world.
I could hear him playing in my head.
And not have all the money in the world. Can't I say I smacked the shit out of a bitch-ass nigga in Dunkin' Donuts?
It's very different from saying you murdered someone or you're going to murder someone. Let's stop acting like murder is the same as everything else.
But Rick Ross talks about murder.
Sure. And if Rick Ross gets brought up on charges because he spoke about murder in his music, then that would be on Rick Ross. I'm not going to defend somebody who comes up publicly and says they killed someone and they get mad because they got caught.
Yo.
I'm not saying that I don't enjoy music, and I'm not saying that I don't enjoy certain lyrics and things like that, but that's not on me. That's not on me. I didn't make them do whatever they did. I didn't make them tell me. That's on them.
All right, 2 things. One, just to be clear, I don't think lyrics should be played in court.
Okay, I think we got that.
I just want to be clear because I realized I never said yes or no. 2,
I don't think I answered that either.
No, we didn't ask you yet, but we'll get there.
Oh,
Because
Wow.
you've been jumping in, so
Okay,
I
I'm
mean, I
sorry.
couldn't say, well, what
I've
do you
been
think? Because you
interrupting.
know, you've been.
I mean, I have.
This
you
is
know,
this cut niggas off pod. So,
I'm sorry
I'm
about
not
that.
offended. It's all
I
good.
didn't mean to.
Let's do it.
I didn't mean to
I
hijack
cut
the
people off
conversation.
all the time, so
You
I'm
do,
not mad
which
at all.
is why I didn't think it was. You know,
Nah,
I
it's
thought
all
we were
good.
just vibing.
Vibes, all vibes.
You know?
But
Mhm.
remember when Rick Ross fucked up selling drugs from the iPhone?
No.
Speaking of Rick Ross, he said he uses his iPhone as a scale to weigh the drugs.
Oh.
Fucked it up for a lot of niggas, I heard.
But that's what I'm saying. He shouldn't have done that.
That's
He
why.
shouldn't have done that. So if he shouldn't have done that, then we can't be out here defending the murderers. I don't understand.
I'm not saying that they should be able to say murderous
First of all, they
things.
shouldn't be
I'm
murdering
only
people. That's
speaking
where it
about-
starts. Okay?
I'm not saying people should commit murder.
I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm just telling you this is
All
why
right.
this
Do
is
you
why I have
listen to
such a heart.
187? Come on. Do you listen to 187?
Why is this relevant?
It is very relevant. They played it at Snoop's trial.
I mean, not recently, no. Have I? Sure, yes.
What's 187 about?
Murder?
Murder, very specific murder.
Mm-hmm.
So Snoop never should have made that song?
Listen, I'm not saying they shouldn't make their music. What I'm saying is, when they get caught, they shouldn't be confused about why they got caught. Oh my gosh, and people like Metro Boomin shouldn't be coming out and saying, "Oh no, this is just a business and they help the community." Really? Is that all they do? Is help the community?
Maybe that's all he's witnessed. I'm shooting him bail.
Honestly, I don't think that. I think that was a bad look for Metro Boomin to come out and speak on shit that didn't have anything to do with him. But maybe it does have something to do with him. Who knows? Allegedly. I don't want to get sued.
I don't want any parts of that.
I don't want to get sued, but I just didn't. He took a very bold step. Should we bring up what he said? I'm pretty sure I saved it.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I saved it, or we don't have to. We don't have to bring it up. We don't have to say it. It just.
You feel very adamantly because this is the second time you bring it up.
It just blew my mind because I was like, yo, they didn't get brought up on like, oh man, y'all committed a robbery. Come down to the precinct and talk about.
Yeah, but weed and lyrics though.
Yeah, I don't think the weed is the big part here. I think
no,
it's
but the idea is that it's all a piece of the puzzle.
It's all a piece, yes, but that's because they're like, oh, we got these big charges, throw in the little charges too. I'm not saying, and let me be clear about something. I'm not saying that I agree with the way law enforcement works. I'm not saying I agree with the way they operate and the way they do things and the way that, yes, do they target certain types of people? Absolutely. We know this. That's not news.
No.
So I am not on the side of law enforcement here, and I want to make that very, very clear. I know one nice cop. That's it. I don't fuck with any of the other ones. Okay? So I want to be clear. I am not on the side of law enforcement. I am on the side of Dashing D. I don't have anything to do with what those people are doing over there. All I'm saying is I don't understand how you could think that you could say whatever the fuck you want to say and there be no consequences. No one's paying attention. You want people to pay attention. This is what I'm talking about. I think that back in the day, I think that older rappers were less concerned about people, about saying, look at me, and more concerned about making music about their lives and their experiences.
Oh, this is their lives and their experiences.
No, I know. But I feel like what's happening today is, look at me, look at what I did, because I'm hard, and I'm a thug.
Young thug.
Well, I didn't say that. But I'm a thug and I do bad shit and I don't get caught. And look at me. I think that's what's happening today. And I think that's the big difference. They want people to know they did this shit.
Yeah.
They want people to know. Well, then you can't want people to know you did this shit and then be confused when the cops come knocking at your door. That's all I'm saying.
it would behoove them to stop committing crimes.
Yeah, that would be
Decision.
That would be a wise decision. But I'm gonna tell y'all what Metro Boomin said, because I was like, oh. So Metro Boomin says, using song lyrics to indict niggas is lame as fuck and a joke. Which we can argue either side. These the same lyrics that have made billions for these corporations over the past decade. I'm waiting now to see who gonna step up and use those same resources now that the coin has turned. Let me tell you something, Metro Boomin.
Oh, that was right.
Sure. But the moment you start saying gang, gang, and murder, 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 where the corporations at?
But no. The corporations are the labels, Target, Nautica, all these different companies that the record labels have deals with. For example, when I don't want to be snitching. So there are certain artists that have come out and clearly signed 360 deals. A 360 deal, the label pours completely into you. They give all the resources, all the connections, and the idea is you blow up and become a star. So you're in Target commercials. You have deals with Sprite. Okay. There was a rapper who had a major position at Nautica. Sprite has things with hip hop artists all the time. There are certain connections and relationships that are used for new acts and for acts that the label feels they can make marketable and profitable. And that is what he's saying. So yes, as the artist, as artist A, you're in the Target commercial. You're in the Sprite commercial. Yeah, you make a piece of change. But the label and Target and Sprite make way more money. Those are the corporations in which he's referring to.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is, he's asking who's going to step up now. No, 28 people just got indicted on RICO charges. Nobody's stepping up now. Like, that's something that they have to realize, is that these people will drop you in a hot second. They don't care. They don't give a fuck about you. They give a fuck about the money. And if you're in jail and can't make them any money anymore...
Nah, it's better for them when you're in jail, because you still make money, but now they get more of the money.
I guess so.
But that's what he's saying, the same thing you're saying. He's saying they're not going to step up. Why? Right. He's saying, where are y'all? He knows that's the answer.
I agree with him. I agree with him on that. I just think it was interesting that he came. I'm not done. Or y'all just going to turn the other way and leave niggas how Interscope did Pac in 95.
Yes, they will.
YSL is not a gang and never have been a gang, fool. YSL is a registered LLC and has provided countless jobs and opportunities for underprivileged Black people, and really just all people, because that's how big Thug Heart is. I've seen I think he meant firsthand, thousands of Black people and their families' lives changed for the better over the past 10 years, and now they're trying to cut the head off the snake because they see how much bigger it gets every year. They get terrified every time an iconic Black leader emerges with so much influence, respect, power, and appeal, so they throw some bullshit charges together to lock him up and slow the movement down. Look at American history. It's been a pattern for 100 plus years. And all you bitch ass niggas trying to play devil's advocate behind a keyboard, keep your police ass on that side. Y'all niggas worse than the DA. I think he's probably talking about me. These brothers need love, support, and prayer right now, not jokes, criticism, or opinions. Well, we do a podcast about music, so we're going to give our opinion and criticize if we feel so suit. You can't come out and give 10 pages of tweets and Instagram, what do they call it? iOS press releases, and then say, but everybody shut the fuck up now. That's not how that works. You can't get to speak your piece and nobody else does.
Should lyrics be played in court?
I don't know. I honestly don't have an answer for that, because I understand both sides of it.
Okay. I don't think they should.
I understand both sides of it. I understand why they shouldn't. But I understand why they end up being used. And I think, to your point, and maybe it means that it's a case-by-case basis, because to your point, I think that sometimes they don't really need the lyrics. It's kind of just an icing on the cake. But I think other times they use it to inch them to the edge that they need to get to, which
I think that's what happens
the
more times
the
than not.
fact that they're moving the goalpost makes it questionable for me. And so maybe what needs to happen is if this is going to be a part of things the same way, and I think I said this to you off the pod, that there's also a lot of not just song lyrics, but think about the way social media is used and has been used for the better part of a decade at this point.
Right.
They use social media to figure a lot of shit out. That
Yeah, I know. That's what I try to tell all the money phone people. Right.
And so it's a gray area for me. I think I'm more, I think that, again, I'm not on the side of law enforcement, and I think law enforcement is going to do what they're going to do to get done what they're trying to get done.
Yeah.
And knowing that, as Black people, like, we got to be more vigilant, and we got to advocate for ourselves. And if advocating for yourself means leave that out of your song, then I'm on the side of leave that out of your song so that you don't end up in this shit.
I don't know, because
or
then what's the limit to free speech though?
I don't know, and that's the thing. But my thing is, it's not like they're coming out and saying really regular shit and getting in trouble for it. They're coming out and saying they killed people, and that's why for me it's complicated, because
a lot of people say they kill people in songs. Eminem, the Great White Hope, has killed.
He's not my Great White Hope.
You know why I said that.
I know, but
he's killed plenty of people in songs. And wait a minute.
And he's talked about abusing his child's mother, like all of that.
That's one of the people he killed in a song.
Listen. I'm not nitpicking when I say this. I'm not saying, oh, Eminem should have done it, but Pooh Shiesty shouldn't have. I'm not saying that it was okay if Jay-Z said that, but if Young Thug says it, it's not okay. I'm saying you have to know that when you do this, these are grown people we're talking about, and you have to know that when you do this, there's a chance. Mm-hmm. So sure, you want to say whatever you want to say in your music in the name of free speech, say whatever you want to say, but let's not all get confused and get our panties in a bunch when they use it. Listen, they will use anything to put Black people behind bars.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So if they'll use anything, then never mind. I already said it, so it's just gonna be again.
I mean, you could.
It's fine. It's long enough. I don't think lyrics should be used in court. That's it.
Okay. And I just don't know. I'm of two minds about it. I don't. Yeah, to think that like the things we do in our day-to-day, our everyday, are constantly called into question, constantly we're constantly having to defend ourselves, even doing the smallest of things. It sucks, but at the same time, I don't know what the solution is, because again, when we're talking about this specific case, if we're saying that we know that when it comes to RICO, they've already run the gamut in terms of evidence. Bless you.
Thanks.
They already run the gamut in terms of evidence and the time of the investigation and whatever, and they already probably have piles and piles of things that they can hold against them. I don't even know if the song lyrics matter.
They do, because they're mentioned in the RICO.
Sure, they matter, but
if they're mentioned in the indictment, it means that at some point they're planning on using those lyrics for some type of evidence. What? We don't know.
We don't know.
Will it be a whole song? Will it be an album? Will it be one line? We don't know. But it means that if it's in the indictment, they plan on using it. it is evidence that they're going to use against the people in the case.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is, in a case like this, it sounds like they already have a hell of a lot more.
Or maybe they don't have shit.
Or maybe they don't.
Maybe they don't have shit, and they're trying to heavily rely on the lyrics. It remains to be seen.
Maybe they are. I don't know.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Like that Melly kid that I read about from Florida, he was 19.
The only thing that I'm sure of is that I would rather us not tell on ourselves so that we don't have to be in this position. I would rather people not commit these types of crimes so that we don't have to have these conversations, so that we don't have to debate on whether this should matter or not. It's frustrating for me because, again, I hear what you're saying, and I see both sides to it, but I'm like, why would you did this shit 2 weeks ago and you were like, where's my pen? Let me write this down and turn it into a song. And
right,
what are we supposed to do with that? I don't know. I don't really know, but Stop Snitching by YG. Yeah. There's a lot of snitch songs listed in that search box. But
I just
yeah.
thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Listen, I hope that however it plays out the way it's supposed to. And it's not really for me to say how it's supposed to play out. But if Young Thug really did the things that they're saying he did, or was involved in the things that they're saying he was involved in, I think that maybe he should have probably paid more attention to his dick that he said always has dirt on it than doing things to other people. If you didn't see that video,